Alrighty, folks. So this is, I'm looking a little Joan Crawfordish tonight. This is our Pep Talk Tuesday, the midnight edition. So just a little bit. So it's going to be a little dark in here. I apologize. My face is very shiny right now. And my eyes are a little swollen. Anyway, so congratulations for surviving the eclipse. If you have, you've done remarkably well. Um, but for many of you, this particular eclipse that just passed may have been quite draining. And there seems to be a general consensus with a lot of people that a lot of physical ailments kind of kicked up, and people really feeling like crap under this eclipse. So, a couple of things about that you should know. With this particular eclipse, it was not an easy eclipse. Some people took it a little bit better than others, but hi. Ultimately, this was a very like low ebb, like the tides of the ocean. It's a very low ebb kind of eclipse. But the other thing too is there was a south node involvement, well, nodal involvement certainly, but a south node involvement, which it has a lot to do with sacrifice and letting go of things. Um, and ultimately, because we have a Jupiter Neptune square going on for pretty much most of the year, and they're both in rulership, a lot of what we're going through right now has to do with the healing process. So things that are really causing you problems, and giving you grief and kind of, being an obstacle and pushing you in other directions now more than any other time. This is almost always true, but now more than any other time, and certainly more dramatically and obviously true. It's very much about the universe trying to navigate and push you into the right direction so that you can optimize your healing process and kind of get past all that crap, and move on with your life, if that makes any sense. So, I am here in the middle of the night with big swollen eyes and my Joan Crawford eyebrows. Um, because I can't sleep, and I wanted to get started earlier, but I'm a little like all over the place. So your Pep Talk Tuesday for this week, we're going to be back on it now, moving forward, is to remember that life is 90% failure. Don't you kid yourself. 90% of life is failure. You stand up, you take a step, you fall down. You get right back up again and you take another step, maybe two steps, and then you fall down and then you get back up again. This is how we learn to walk. And from walking, we developed into running and balancing and jumping pretty quickly. So we mastered the more advanced skills pretty fast compared to those initial beginning steps when we literally had no idea how to coordinate all the limbs of our body and do a simple, basic, necessary thing like walking. So this is the same thing anytime you get involved in things that are new for you, right? They're always clumsy. They're always full of failure. They're not always guaranteed to succeed. But if we can keep moving past our anxiety and our issues and our concerns and keep marching forward as best you can, pull yourself up by the couch cushion and keep walking along the coffee table, little person, um, physically and psychologically. If we can keep doing that, when we get to that place where we're competent, we're what they call unconsciously competent, we don't have to think about it anymore, right? Then our ability to expand upon that, and because that's a foundation we're building, we to expand upon that and like develop advanced skills, like leaps and bounds, will be huge, and so much easier. So it is always worth putting the time and effort in. And remember, 90% of life is failure. You're supposed to fail because failure is not failure. Failure has nothing to do with winning and losing. Failure is a science experiment. So you know what happens when a science experiment doesn't go according to expectations, like they expected something and something else happened? They don't call it a failure. They call it information. So they know that with this particular experiment, that when they did this, they got this instead of this. That's not a failure. That means that they know this. They now know this combination of things will not produce the desired results or the expected ones. So this is information that they can use that will help them narrow down and get a deeper understanding about how to work with this thing in front of them. And everything in your life that's not going according to plan is a science experiment. We now know that that particular combination of things, it's not going to produce the desired result. So what do? You go back, you to the what is it? You go back to the equation, and the marking board, and you start all over again, right? Okay, so we can eliminate that. Now what's left to try? So that's life, and that's kind of what we should always endeavor to remind ourselves of when life gets pretty damn difficult, and being really hard on ourselves because um, we're not who we think we're supposed to be, and we're not living the life we think we're supposed to be living, and we're not doing what we think we're supposed to be doing. It doesn't matter what you think you're supposed to. What matters is that you're participating and you're learning and you're growing. And like a science experiment, every time some combination of things does not produce the desired result, you are adult enough and competent enough and with it enough to make mental notes. Okay, well, that didn't work. So this plus that results in this, not what I was wanting. Okay. And we move and adjust like that. Um, So I'm only gonna be see, I wasn't gonna do a live chat because if I did a live chat and you guys showed up in the room, I was gonna talk to you. I knew this was gonna happen, and it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and I really need to get some sleep. But I have horrible insomnia these days. Thank you, Uranus. So while I'm here, if you guys have some like real quick questions about astrology or stuff like that, absolutely go ahead and put them in there. Oh my God! And how's this? I want to share this with you. So a while back, I did a video on relationship astrology and the royal marriage, right? Remember the royal marriage, Harry and Meghan? And of course, the tabloids are having a field day with her now. So apparently, and I just forgot about the video. I just ignored it, just there, like didn't pay any attention to it. And I just got a question from somebody today, like out of the blue, asking about whether a moon is better if it's exalted or in rulership, and they were referring to that video. It's like, oh yeah, let me go back and take a look at that video. Oh my God, that video has over 1,000 views. I do not have 1,000 subscribers, but that video got like 1,000 views. Like 1,000 people watched that video at least once. So I was pretty like, wow, that's pretty impressive. Unfortunately, they did not convert to subscribers. So clearly, this plus this did not result in that. I've got to work on the equation. But here's what's fun. So I went back and I'm like, let me listen to that video again. And I listened to the video um, that I had done I think, like, the day of their marriage or the day after the marriage, like, literally right there in that very beginning of their marriage, and listening to some of the stuff I was seeing in the charts between them, and also with Megan as it's playing out now, even I'm like, "Oh, damn. This is why I love astrology." So if you guys are royal watchers, right, or even have a little bit of curiosity about, Meghan and Harry, and honey, I love me some Harry. Oh my God. See, this marriage could never work because clearly he was supposed to marry me. Someday he will see the error and foolishness of his ways and realize that he's missed his opportunity to meet his soulmate. But seriously, on a serious note, um, it's a fun watch. As a matter of fact, I think yes, there it is. So I'm gonna put the link to that video about the royal marriage when we did it and relationships and how the predictions we have for the two of them and how this is gonna go. Not only here in the scroll bar, but I'm gonna put that in the comment section when I end the video. So yeah, fun stuff. And I'm sorry I look so weird. It's cosmetic procedures. Wow, look at all that gray. Jesus Christ. Yeah, see, nobody told me it was gonna come to this by the time you get to my age, which, for the record, is 29 forever. So there's that, and for those of you, my sisters out there who are over 40, so listen, if you're struggling with depression and wondering, like, what life is about, what's it all about, Alfie? Um, and the whole, like, "Jesus, God, now what?" Right? So, hang in there, it's okay, and also remember most important thing to remember is that we live in a very youth focused culture in the United States, right? And maybe in other places too, but certainly here in the US, right? But that's changing. The problem is, as women, as we get older, we don't really have any role models for life being wonderful after a certain age because those voices were drowned out. So the only thing anybody wanted to hear from were the ones that supported their fantasies that everything was about youth and young women, right? And listen, children, let me tell you, older women are much more fun. So, what the problem is, you get to 40 and there's nobody supporting and reinforcing that life is good for you after 40, right? So it gets a little weird. So here's what I would say is, when you're having your low points, understand that it's just like that, but don't ever buy into this nonsense that somehow life is over because you can't make babies anymore. Like, well, what is that about, right? So you don't wear a size 10, dress, you're not making babies, you got a little bit of gray in your hair, right? But that's not what makes you beautiful. So here's the thing that I've learned in the last few years that I think is remarkable. And unfortunately, a lot of women don't know this. And that is this, like, the things that we are attracted to, like, it's not the surface stuff. When you're young, it's all about appearances, right? Like, we were all young. I was young. It's all about what it looks like because, biology, blah, 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 right? But once you get past that, that's we start to realize that's not really what makes people attractive. So what makes people attractive is all of this, all of you, right? Your personality, your mindset, your spirit, the way you engage with life, the way you participate in your relationships, your humor, and the light that radiates from you. These are the things that give other people pleasure. And things that give us pleasure are things we find attractive. Okay. So you don't lose value as you get older. You become more of who you are. And if you're not careful, you will become the expectation people have for people over a certain age. Oh, well, you're right. Um, but who are these people to define your life for you? Who are these people? Like, okay, so somebody expects you to be something. It's not your job to fulfill their expectations because, honey, listen carefully. Come here. They don't pay your bills, and they're not the ones there taking care of you when you're sick and, like, you can barely hold yourself up. They're not doing anything meaningful as far as your personal life is concerned, okay? So, until they're paying all your bills and they're the ones, like, standing by your side making sacrifices because 'cause you're sick and somebody has to be there and it's them, until they're in that position, we don't care what their opinions are or what their expectations of you are. We don't, because your opinion doesn't matter. So, I know, right? I look like a cartoon. Um, so with that said, right, when you're like, "Oh, blah, blah, blah," like, and people just put these expectations on you because this is what you're supposed to do and what your life is supposed to look like, and why are you surprised? No, don't own it. Don't own it, because in every wonderful thing that's ever happened in life, in the world, right? In humanity, it's because somebody said, you know what, listen, I realize that you think that this is the way things are going to work, but I'm here to tell you, no, I'm not buying into that. Because if they didn't do that, we would never have flight. People would never have gotten off the ground. We would not have underwater anything. We don't have gills and we don't have wings. And yet, we're able to get to the bottom of the ocean and now we're able to touch Mars, right? All of these things happen because somebody said, "No, I don't care what your expectations are. I'm not buying it." And no, it hasn't happened yet, but because I got to make it happen. So it's the same thing with you and your quality of life, and your relationships and how you think your life should be moving forward. All right. So listen, if you are 63 and you think that you want to finally embrace your rock star status and you want to be the next Keith Richards, right? And some of you are younger, like, Keith Richards, who the hell is that? You should look him up. Keith Richards. He is the guitarist, drummer. He's a musician, one of the band members. I'm not a big music person. One of the band members for the Rolling Stones, and we're all still surprised he's alive. We're pretty sure he's actually embalmed at this point, and the pulse is not even really there. Anyway, so yeah, listen, if you're 63 and so decide that you want to be the next Keith Richards, you just go and do that. Who cares what other people think and what their opinions are and what their expectations for your life after a certain age are? Because you know what? They don't pay your bills. They're not there to take care of you when you're sick. What do they know? What could they possibly know about who you are inside, right? And it's who you are inside that matters. All of this, it's window dressing. Because remember, All of this changes every 7 years, right? Think about what you looked like when you were 7 and what you looked like when you were 14 and when you looked like when you were 21 and when you looked like at 29, etcetera, ad nauseum. Your all of this changes every 7 years. You don't get to keep any of this, and you don't get to decide what you're gonna get in its place. Ask anybody who's gone through puberty. You don't get to pick and choose what you get. So if all of this is changing, then it doesn't matter. What really matters is what's in here, right? And who knows you better than you? So there you go. Um, so that is your Pep Talk Tuesday, the midnight edition. I am going to ouch. I'm gonna try and go to bed. Um, so that's it. I really literally had nothing constructive to say. I just want to give you guys something positive to cheer you up because it's been, it's been an eclipse. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.